You're watching the Chaos Protocol on Transplanar RPG, an all-transgender, people of color-led dark fantasy TTRPG show set in an original non-colonial, anti-Orientalist multiverse. If you like what you see, please consider pledging to our Patreon to support the show and get access to a patron-only after-show, early podcast episodes, GM notes, character sheets, and even the chance for your tabletop OC to cameo in our series. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy. The Chaos Protocol is a dark fantasy series that may contain content that is triggering for some viewers. Content warnings for this episode include fantasy violence, gore, heights, guns, complex relationships, romance, flirting, kissing, and references to hunting, food, and sex. Arc 3, Episode 15. Oh Pity, Oh Sorrow. From Praying Beside the Teeth That Killed Me by Connie Chang.
Teeth bared, claws flashing, the two massive werewolves slam into each other like freight trains colliding. The white wolf, who's bigger, stronger, faster, meaner, latches titanium jaws against a muscular shoulder. And then the smaller wolf grabs a fistful of spilled soil and throws it into the white wolf's flashing black eyes. Ta lets out a and briefly relaxes Ta to bite, but that's all she needs. The gray wolf rips herself out of Ta's claws and staggers on all fours toward the brick lip of the roof in an attempt to escape, blood drooling out of her wounds and fangs, and bang! A silver bullet punches into her injured shoulder. She howls and dives behind a chair just as bang! Wicker explodes. The wolf dives again. Bang! A wooden post shatters. These gunshots resonate from the 9mm in the unwavering grip of that grim-faced, leather-decked mortal. Yes, mortal. They are not a vampire, they are not a werewolf, and they are not afraid. As they step forward with each ruthless round, Z doesn't miss a single shot. Their target is just hiding, using cover. Speaking of, the gray wolf dives toward the planters, flattening its massive form behind the green tops of carrots and the swaying leaves of peppers. There's a beat, but no gunshot comes. The mortal, the hunter, exhales, half annoyed, half grimly amused. For some reason, they're reluctant to shoot at these plants, and the white wolf is still pawing at her eyes, grunting and snarling. In this window of opportunity, we pan back to strike Team Nova on the other side of this roof. Lumièra, you're crouching over a bleeding and bruised Xainan Esch. He does not look well in undead body, mind, or soul. Yinghe hovers next to you over a battered but mostly whole Seir, their eyes frantic but hands steady as they give him a careful once-over. Strike Team Nova. How do you rally yourselves, and how do you help these newcomers end this fight?
Seir looks to Yinghe. He, in that one motion, glances and gazes over towards Lumièra at a broken and battered Xainan on the ground, and fear courses into his veins, and fear turns to rage. And he turns to Yinghe and he says, Mila, I'm going to need backup. And he crouches low, he looks over at this hunkered wolf. Connie, tell me, where exactly is this wolf positioned between the other, much larger kaiju werewolf?
The white wolf is kind of in the middle of the roof, amidst a bunch of broken and shattered pieces of wicker furniture. That ashtray completely splattered all around her in ceramic shards. The gray wolf is on the other side of the roof, hiding behind planters. So there's like maybe half a dozen planters remaining.
Seir is going to look over to Yinghe and say, if I serve them up to you, hit them hard. and he's going to dart his eyes on the other side of the roof to corner the Grey Wolf so that Yinghe might have a window of opportunity and we can like pincer 3 times, almost like a trident.
Okay, so you're trying to set up Yinghe and presumably the rest of your party as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
But I'm mostly giving breathing room to Lumièra and Xainan because Xainan needs to have a moment.
Understood. You pick yourself up after being tossed to the ground off the back of this werewolf, and you start to pincer movement your way into this Grey Wolf on one side of the planters. Yinghe picks up on what you're doing. They nod intensely. There's a flicker of concern, a widening of the eyes when you use the term of affection, and then a flickering of concern setting in as you jump back into action. Their mouth half opens as though to object, but then they swallow whatever objection they had. They'll table that for next time. They follow your instructions and they slink. And as they move, for a moment you lose sight of them, even though your eyes are on them. And then you see them again. After feeding and hunting with you, Yinghe's power, their vampirism has been magnetized and amplified as well. It's really hard to notice that they're there unless they're actively moving. It's almost like they're invisible. So as Yinghe and Seir start pinning in that Grey Wolf, whose snarls and head turn side to side trying to track both of you, Lumièra and Xainan, what's going on the ground?
I think Lumièra is frantically, but still with an air of knowing and understanding, is looking over Xainan, kind of peeling back parts of like his kimono, looking at the wound, trying to assess how deep the teeth marks are, see where the most damage is applied to, but also trying to be as tender as possible. But she is warning him ahead of time, like, I'm gonna have to lift you and it's gonna hurt.
I can do it.
Okay.
I just need my gun.
2, 3. And I think on the count of 3, Lumièra like lifts him a bit to check back behind his shoulder and assess the damage.
Ooh, it's not good. Plat, plat, splat. Globules of blood drip out of Xainan's leaking wound and splatter onto his boots and smear the concrete ground around him. You can smell his still undead blood wafting in your nostrils. One look at that shoulder and you know that it is dislocated. You know that bite has cut into bone. It's really bad. It would have been fatal if you were a human.
Got it. Okay. I can't do much
Just
about
a scratch,
the bleeding
right?
now.
Oh, that hurts.
Okay, I'm really sorry. And Lumièra's going to pull his arm back and put her fist right in the cusp of the shoulder blade. This is going to hurt.
Just do it.
And before you can even say just do it, she pops your shoulder directly back into place.
And then all of the weight of Xainan falls against Lumièra.
She catches
and there is no hesitation, there is no concern about putting all of the weight of this grown man onto her. He trusts that she will catch him.
Xainan, these bites look really bad.
We gotta get out of this.
1 second.
Eyes up.
And Lumièra's eyes immediately dart up to the battlefield as she rips the edge of her cloak again to try to make a tourniquet for Xainan's shoulder.
You know what, Lumièra? I'm not going to make you roll at all for cracking that shoulder back into place. Relocating a dislocated joint is something that is well within your purview and your training as a healer, so there's like no risk here for you. Xainan, as you raise your eyes to the pain, that sharp crack of pain dulls into these throbbing, burning like beats against the side of your body. You hear a voice, a call from across the roof. Hey, Deadeye. And it's the mortal hunter, and they're throwing something at you. Their hand kind of flicks in the air, and you see something silver glinting in an arc, and you catch it. It's a silver bullet.
Xainan grabs the bullet, and were he a mortal person, he would have been so delirious he couldn't have even seen it coming, but his eyes are sharp. And just underneath the transformation that fate bestowed upon them when they came here, his human-looking eyes, as the eyes of a hunter from Kiseki, those slitted, keen eyes. And he snatches that bullet out of the air. And he goes to look for the gun that he was holding a moment ago. And in his hand, around the bullet, forms that gun again. As if being knocked to the ground had destroyed its very existence, but it creates itself again, that molten gold running down his arm and forming around the bullet, it already being loaded. And he, one arm, raises his Ima's rifle, rests it under his arm, pulls back the bolt, and looks down the scope for the wolf that bit him.
Yeah, you raise the scope to your eye and it kind of clicks in. The battlefield becomes much larger and smaller at the same time, and you see that wolf's ears peeking up from behind the swaying leaf of a pepper at the same time as Seir and Yinghe start to close in, and Lumièra's kind of supporting you, basically acting as like your rifle rest so you can keep a steady aim. Whatever happens next is going to be an act and a strategy and a tactic that is completely reliant on teamwork. So, Seir, how do you spring into action at the same time that Xainan also squeezes the trigger and Lumièra stands there steadily and holding him?
As Seir closes in, he speeds up to try and catch this werewolf by surprise. I'm not just sneaking up on you. I'm about to pummel you. And Seir's going to use the wall as a platform as he runs up, bounces off of it, and he's going to grab the gray werewolf by the wrapping his legs around the shoulder, across its neck, and going to clamp down on the jaw. And he's literally just like muttering down. He doesn't care if he gets bit. He will use his arm to clamp between the jaws if he has to. He's keeping this monster from gnashing and moving in its upper body. And he will launch himself, wrestle with its jaw, and hold it down for Xainan, for Yinghe, and for this white werewolf ally, I guess, to take down this wolf with us.
White ally! Sorry,
Not
the
like
joke
this,
was there, I had to take it.
Not like this,
werewolf
Connie!
is not white, but the joke was there, I had to take it. Okay, love that. As Seir leaps forward, ricocheting his body off of a side of this roof and launches his huge arms against that wolf's gnashing, biting jaws. Xainan, what do you do?
If he didn't know any better, he would think that time slowed, but Lumièra's distracted. That's not what's happening here. He focuses in so tightly that it may as well be within a liminal as he looks down his sights, careful to spot where the familiar side of Seir is pummeling into this werewolf. And Xainan would like to try and open up a way for a final blow to hit, just like he has done many times with large creatures.
I love that. Are you specifically trying to make this like non-lethal but debilitating?
It is more important that it stops the werewolf from being able to move than it is a killing blow.
Got it. Understood. Right. So you squeeze that trigger as soon as you see that opening, right? Like something moving open, right? A vulnerability revealed. You're going to take that shot. You do not hesitate. You squeeze. All of this is happening in literal bullet time. Lumièra, as you're standing there acting as a support and a crutch in a lot of ways for Xainan, where is your healery concern sitting in your body?
I'm so sorry, Connie. Can you rephrase that question?
Yes, that was a weird way for me to put it. Okay, yes, I will. I will. Scratch that. Let's rewind. I'm going to rephrase that.
I'm so sorry.
It's all good. Lumièra, as you stand there acting as a support and a crutch in many ways for Xainan, what logical thoughts are running through your mind, and what else is starting to surge within your chest? As it seems to you that time is slowing down, though you just know kind of like consciously that it's adrenaline and not a liminal being formed.
I think Lumièra is more focused on being Xainan's rock at that moment for him to make that shot. But she can't ignore that it starts as a weird thrumming in her chest, almost buzzing to a sense right underneath her clock gear, tattoo, birthmark, what have you. There's something weird going on, and it makes her breath kind of shuddery because she doesn't understand it, and it's starting to get uncomfortable. It feels almost... The only thing that she could really think of to, like, adequately describe it as something similar to was that electric hum of the heartbeat of the ship in the wild sea. It sits there and thrums and buzzes, and it only becomes louder in her ear as time goes on.
Oh, but Lumièra, maybe you're consciously confused, but deep down in your gut, you know what this is. You know what this pain is. You know why it resonates with that memory of the wild sea. It is power. Raw, unfiltered power inside you, bound by the inexorable strings of literal fate. And in this bullet time, as adrenaline surges through your veins and makes the time around you slow down, you know, you could have averted this. Xainan's gaping wound, I mean, that's nothing in the face of chronergy. With a liminal, you could have stopped this Grey Wolf, stopped this fight before it even began. And as soon as that thought passes through your mind like a train passing, you feel the pain of time magic inside your body, in the depths of your soul, straining, pulsing against that razor wire of fate's seal. It hurts, Lumièra, whenever you even think about your time magic, whenever the instinct, right, rises to perhaps even entertain using it, it hurts. It hurt a little when you were visiting those strange places the text messages sent you to, but here in the midst of a fight where your time magic might actually change the tides of battle, it rears and the pain surges. What involuntary physical response comes out of you in reaction to this pain?
I think Xainan is more aware of it than anyone else. For a second, Lumièra is holding you steady, but then she tenses. Rock solid, immobile. And you start to feel almost like it's like hiccuping almost in her body stature as she's trying to swallow down whatever it is that she's feeling before she lets out a pained gasp. But just as quick as it came out, it's tamped down, and she's still just her body almost spasms in a way, and almost like mimicking a heartbeat in a sense.
Yeah, Lumièra, your body throbs in rhythm to the pain that binds your chronergy in the center of your soul, and Xainan, you feel that heave, that brief sob at the same time that you pull the trigger. So all 3 action rolls are going to take place at the same time. This is going to be a team action. So tell me what skills each of you are pulling on for this moment. Let's start with Seir.
I will be pulling on wreck. I'm trying to wreck the shit out of this werewolf as much as I can.
Sense. Love it. What about you, Xainan?
I'm gonna do hunt. We're hunting.
Yep. That also makes a lot of sense. You're quite literally drawing a bead on this wolf and pulling the trigger. What about you, Lumièra?
So, innately, Lumièra believes she's pulling on survey. That's if that's what we're talking about. If we're talking mechanics and what's happening, Lumièra thinks she's pulling from survey, or she's actually pulling from is going to be channel.
Ooh, okay. I love it. So why don't all 3 of you, I'm going to set the same position and effect for all of you. Your position here is risky, your effect is going to be standard. So pretty standard action rolls. For you, Lumièra, you have a special position. It's going to be desperate. But the rest of you is going to risk it. Make your rolls.
Woo!
All right, Xainan, what'd you get?
With my -1 dice because I'm super hungry, that's still a 6.
Okay, wow, that's good. That is a full success. What about you, Seir?
4.
A 4. That's a partial success. And what about Lumièra?
You know, I love when the dice tell stories.
Oh no, what does that mean?
Give it to me. Give it to me.
1.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense to me. How a team strategy maneuver works is we will take the highest roll, and that will be the overall outcome of this coordinated
Thank
effort.
Christ.
Thank
Good job,
God.
Sidon. Good job, Kai's. Good job, Kai's dice.
Who knew?
Who knew?
knew? Not me.
But Lumièra, you are going to suffer 2 thirst as this pain surges through you. You're able to stand your ground, but it costs you greatly to stay rooted to this moment instead of like succumbing to the pain. Okay, how this plays out is Seir, you do it. I think it would be really cool if you did jam your arm inside that mouth, right?
Fully.
And it was, blood and saliva gnashing around you, the teeth
Stay
right into your...
quiet.
Yep. She tries to open her jaw, but you use your other arms to kind of clamp down on the top, and the rest of your body is kind of clenched around her like a fucking vice. And then, bang! That silver bullet punches into her exposed leg that kind of went wide as she was kind of staggering. She straightened up from behind the planter, staggering, and it was a free shot. A free shot for Xainan Esch. She staggers backward, hits the brick wall. The two of you almost topple over the edge of the roof. You kind of swing there for a moment, and then coming out of nowhere, from the fucking shadow of the wolf, Yinghe materializes. They're holding a shattered wooden stake in one hand that they'd picked up from the debris, and as like a knife sliding through butter, they slip it through the back of this gray wolf, and it punches upward through one of their ribs. This wolf lets out a muffled howl of pain, a non-lethal blow from Yinghe, but definitely one to take her out of the fight. And then there's a as this huge white wolf, finally with the dust clear from her eyes, barrels out from the side and uses one hand to grab the back of this gray wolf's scruff and lift her up into the air. Yinghe quickly lets go of the wooden stake so she's not dangling by it. But Seir, you're kind of still on the scruff as well as you're dangling. But she pulls the two of you away from the danger of the edge. And those black eyes flash over at you, Seir, and this huge white wolf says, "Thanks."
You're good. No problem.
I don't want to accidentally concuss you or something. Do you mind letting go? I think we got it from here. All of us together as a team, I mean.
Yeah. Just give me. And he like uses his like knuckles, jams it into the corner of the jaw, like how you would pinch to like open your dog's mouth, and then releases himself.
Yeah, your arm is really sore. It's definitely bruised. You'll take a very low, like a tier 1 level of harm, just bruised arm from literally sticking it into a wolf's mouth. And then this huge white wolf, now completely freed of attached Seirs, slams this gray wolf onto the ground and kind of pins her body there with the stake still through one side of her back. Okay. I yield, I surrender. No more, please, no more. Do the three of you back off at this?
Xainan isn't even paying attention anymore. He gets the shot off, and in his hand, the gun just melts and is gone, and he is holding now just that scope, that clockwork scope that Lumièra made for him. And he looks at it and then looks over his shoulder at her. Are you alright?
She can't even speak. It's like her entire body is locked. And she just stares at you with wide eyes.
Xainan is keeping an ear out for distress from Seir or Yinghe, but is now focused entirely on Lumièra as he slips that scope back into his pouch and grabs her by the shoulder very gently, just kind of checking her over, making sure she's not injured, because that's what it sounded like to him.
She just... You can feel her trembling. Like her entire body is shaking.
Then, covered in blood, he pulls her into a hug.
You get the impression she would hug back, but it's almost like all her limbs won't move from being tightly clenched and coiled to her sides. But she does accept
He
it.
just both holds her in that, like, it's okay, but also, just like she just did for him with his one arm that is working correctly right now, kind of checks her over to make sure that she's uninjured, that there wasn't something else that he had missed in this fight, and is going to just be there with her for a moment.
Yeah, Lumièra and Xainan, as the two of you take that moment together, Seir, Yinghe kind of rushes over to you like a hand on your shoulder as they kind of look at your bruised and kind of starting to swell a little bit arm. Are you okay?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. And he like checks to make sure that patience is still there. Yeah, no, I'm alright. Ugh, just a little bruised. And he like looks at this wolf who's like dangling, held by the scruff, and like points up to this werewolf and is just like, try anything else, and I will actually rip that jaw off of your maw. Hear me?
Hey, listen. I think this is just a big misunderstanding.
Do you hear me, wolf?
Yeah, loud and clear, buddy. Loud and clear. I'm just a little guy, okay? I'm just a guy. I'm not that big. I mean, look at her. She's huge. I mean, she's more of a threat than me at this point. Am I right? I mean, a 6v1, that's the definition of unfair, don't you think?
Seir looks over to the larger werewolf, and I think there's a weird sort of like sparkle that radiates around his eyes, down to the right and left side of his jaw when he actually takes this white werewolf in. And he can't really explain it, but he is drawn to them. No, I think they're all right. And he pulls back, and as soon as like Yinghe's like hand is steadying him, and after this concludes, he snaps back from rage and fury and goes, Xainan, wait. And he turns around and like with Yinghe into holding their hand, like rushes over to Xainan, and he rushes over. He's like, Xainan. And then he kneels by Nova. And he looks over to Xainan and mouths what happened.
Very quietly to Lumièra, though I think Seir could probably see it. Xainan says, "You good?"
She lets out a shuddery gasp before it almost like all the tension in her body releases.
And he just gently pets her arm again as he kind of pulls away from the hug, and more completely is like obviously looking at Seir now to make it clear for Lumièra as well that we are being observed. All right, let's finish this. Yeah.
Seir nods, sees Lumièra, and his eyes soften at you, and Xainan already asked the question, but he asks you so silently, so softly in his eyes, if you are really okay.
Lumièra feels your eyes on her, but her eyes are at the ground. She does not make eye contact.
He nods, and looks over to Yinghe. And I think there's that look again that Yinghe knows. It's worry. It's fear and worry and concern. And there's definitely like a silent communication between these two lovers of something's not right with Lumièra.
Yeah, Yinghe sees it as well. Their moonlit eyes narrow with concern as they look at Lumièra, but they too don't push, at least not in this instance. Her hands are all covered in wolf blood as she looks around, almost as though seeking a rag, and then just wipes it down on her hanfu. And at this point, the massive white wolf and the hunter have kind of like carried this gray wolf is still dangling by the white wolf's like massive hand by the scruff and has been placed down onto the ground by like forcibly sat down on the ground. And the white wolf, without releasing her grip on the scruff of her neck, says, "All right, if you wouldn't mind, kindly revert. You know, so we know you're not going to try to hurt us or run again." Okay. That's what it's going to take. I might be like semi-naked though. Just do it. Okay. And there's like a crunching of bone, a kind of like squelching of flesh, a running of blood, and then this huge gray wolf shrinks down into a gangly but still muscled woman with dark brown skin, this scraggly black hair that's all over her face, bright yellow eyes, and fully shredded clothing that really doesn't cover that much. And this big, huge white-furred wolf nods and releases the back of her neck with like a huge pawed hand, and she also reverts. Crunch, crunch, snap, snap, back down into that massive woman too. And now this hunter, who still has not lowered their gun, points the gun casually at the other wolf's head, but their hand isn't on the trigger. And the other wolf has both of their hands up in surrender and is going, "Oh, okay, listen, what do you want to know? I'll spill the beans, all of it, anything you want to know. I'll tell you who I was hired by, I'll tell you how much they hired me, I'll tell you. You were hired? Yeah. I'm not just, hey, listen, I'm an upstanding citizen of Paradise and Inferno, okay? I've got dual citizenship, and I would never just attack people out of the blue for no reason unless I was paid to do so, okay? Just like anyone else." The human hunter just looks up at their wolf companion and says, "Are you sure we shouldn't maybe just rough her up a little bit more?" No, Bo, no. She's waving the white flag. Metaphorically, I guess a gray-furred flag. Anyway, the four of you want in on this interrogation?
Yeah, why are you killing deer?
Deer? Oh, that's a different job. By the same client, but a different job. Listen, I'm sure you may or may not, I mean, you as vampires especially are probably aware that House Drakkar has been, poking their nose in wolf business, right? Trying to settle territory disputes and whatnot. And like a moon and a half ago, they helped draw up some big agreement between various scattered packs. And honestly, it was going pretty well. I was benefiting from it. It was nice. No one was trying to bite my tail off. But then, who comes knocking on my apartment door aside from the Shrikes? And they've got a big payday for me. They said to me, "Hey, Harlow, we're gonna give you a ton of money if you just fuck up House Drakkar's plans, okay? Make it look like what they've drawn up isn't gonna work." So I start killing deer here and there. I start graffitiing the place. I start doing drive-by muggings and maulings, and it's working pretty good. And the payday's coming in, Paycheck after paycheck is real nice.
You did it for chaos reasons? You're just stirring up things in the city.
No, I did it for money.
Well, yes, but your solution to breaking a deal is just wanton destruction and chaos.
Well, I mean, I assume that's why they hired me. I'm not exactly known for subtlety. I mean, if you want to wreck something, you either hire me or my ex-wife, am I right?
Where do we factor in?
Oh, right. Remember how I said about 2 different jobs from the same client? Well, the 4 of you were the other job from the same client. You see, they hit me up the other day, the Shrikes again. Yeah, Lanius! Aditi herself. That's right, I even gave you all a name. Aditi Lanius herself said I should teach these newcomer vamps a little lesson about messing with, how does she put it? She put it in a way much more eloquently than me. Something about how this is what happens when you associate with the spiders. Go teach the spiders and their fellow helpers a lesson. But she was very careful, very, very explicit, very specific to not kill the 4 of you, okay? Non-fatal injuries only. I was just supposed to scare you, rough you up a little.
Then what's... Xainan points to his shoulder that isn't quite working at the moment between the blood and the just recently reset joint. This was supposed to be non-fatal.
I mean, you're still standing, aren't you?
And Xainan fully bares his teeth at this werewolf.
Okay, hey, I'm just a fella, okay? I'm just a gal trying to make a living. You can't fault someone for just trying to survive.
You need to take better jobs.
Yeah, well, no one's really hiring right now aside from these contract gigs. And I got fired from my last few proper jobs. I was, I guess I couldn't keep my hands off of the shop owner's wife or something. She couldn't keep her hands off of me either, I mean, to be honest.
Xainan softens when he hears, I'm just trying to survive. And he walks over to the destroyed place that he was just enjoying reading his book. And on the ground is Passions of the God Spine. A little less nice than it was when he took it from the library, I would imagine. And his leather jacket, and he picks it up, walks over to her, and holds it out. You want to maybe not freeze on this roof at night?
Yeah. That'd be great. Is that for me?
You can borrow it until we get downstairs.
Sorry, I must have missed it. What are you holding out to her?
His leather jacket.
Oh, leather jacket? Okay, great. The Grey Wolf looks carefully at, the human hunter that has the gun still pointed at her and just goes, I'm gonna just go for the jacket. Just gonna go for the... All right, thank you, sir. Very kind. All right. Oh, this is nice leather. Is this genuine? Doesn't feel like that fake pleather shit. That stuff just starts shedding after. Oh, this is nice. And she puts on your jacket, kind of slides it on, covering her body. Thanks. This is nice. I bet this could retail for a lot. You know what I mean?
Which is why you're borrowing it until I can get you a shirt, just a regular shirt.
You're a good guy. I can tell. All of you all seem like good people. Real good people. Right? So I'm pretty sure we can come to a concordat here. All right? Look, I've given you as much as I can give you. All the information I've got. You want to grill me? Keep grilling me. I love barbecue. Bring it on. I'll give you anything you want to know. You want my social security number? Great. It's 229.
Oh, okay. Hey, listen. It's the larger wolf now speaking. I don't think we need your social security number. Okay, Harlow, was it?
Yeah, Harlow. Nice to meet you. I wish it was under better circumstances, but honestly, this is pretty par for the course for me.
Listen, did the Shrikes tell you anything else? And Strexing Nova, you will notice that this hunter and this other wolf, when Harlow had mentioned the Shrikes, they had both paused and they looked at each other meaningfully. There's something exchanged in that glance. This other wolf continues to ask, any information about their motives, any other jobs they might have out, any loose threads they want to tie up that's not related to this?
No. Sorry. If I did, I would spill, but I don't got the beans on that to spill.
Huh. I see. Do the 4 of you have any other questions?
So how does this work? You get hired for the job? Are you expecting a visit from the Shrikes for payment?
Oh no, they pay buddy me.
What?
Seir tilts his head. What?
Pay buddy? Oh, do you use Venmo? They pay me online through my phone, through an app.
Oh. So you're not expecting any more visits from the Shrikes?
Well, I was supposed to take a photo of the 4 of you beat up and then send it for verification.
And what will you do now?
Now? I mean, I just spilled the beans on them, so they're gonna try to get my beans, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna have to lay low a bit. I'm skipping town after this. I'm going to paradise. I'm gonna crash on my ex-wife's couch. Oh, she has a new girlfriend. She's so pretty.
I take it you're also then done with your business with Kuatoon.
Kuatoon? Oh, the bears. Yeah, they got... I fucked one of them up pretty bad, didn't I? I mean, but she saw what I did. I had to try to, make sure she wouldn't remember. But I'm not a killer. I just try to rough her up pretty good. But I'm done. I'm not gonna...
This is more than roughing up.
Sorry. You want a written apology or something? I'm not great at those, but I can try.
No.
Okay.
If you don't want people to come after you, maybe learn how to rough people up a little gentler.
Gentle isn't really my thing. And listen, it's not unusual for the houses of Inferno to come at each other like this, too. People die here. In formal duels, as is the Crimson Tapestry way, or through informal scuffles with all these disorganized packs, or just one-offs, vengeance here, and like, oh, you slept with my wife there, oh, but you fucked with my finances there. There's all kinds of reasons why people come at each other violently and viciously in Inferno.
Sure.
You can't exactly blame a girl from profiting from the chaos that's just gonna happen anyway.
Yeah, but maybe have more of a cause. Oh. Lanius really just wanted you to sow doubt.
Yeah, that's all. And to fuck you guys up. Which, honestly, I think I was doing a pretty good idea until your saviors came by.
Yeah. And Xainan seems deeply unsatisfied with this answer. The others have no idea what bone he is chewing on, but he is so disappointed. Not in Harlow. They're doing fine. But all of these clues, these questions that Xainan went away to make peace with Kuatoon and came back with all these questions to ask, and they don't seem to satisfyingly link up in a way that Xainan likes. And so he looks to the hunters, looking for anything satisfying at all.
Would you, and this is applicable to Lumièra and Seir as well, would you, Xainan, like to try to peer a little bit closer at that look, whatever expression is playing across their faces?
Yeah.
Okay, Lumièra as well?
Lumièra's barely there currently. She's been noticeably quiet and standing to the back of Nova, kind of hugged in on herself. Her arms are like wrapped around her chest and her arms. She keeps she's self-soothing, but she's not really saying anything, kind of looking at the ground.
Xainan is hovering next to her.
Yeah, I think Ginghe is also sticking very close to your side. And I assume Seir as well. All of Strike Team Nova is kind of closing in on you, making sure that their presences are there to soothe you and calm you until you're ready to talk, if ever. So for those of you who would like to study this huge wolf and this smaller but no less vicious hunter a bit more closely, I would say study as an action role would probably make most sense here, though I can see an argument for survey or even hunt.
I'm going to use survey. I'm not being mean to them.
What about you, Xainan?
I have a funny other possible one. Consort, maybe?
Oh, sure. Yeah, consort, but you would have to, I think, say a few more things to them, because that's specifically about socializing and opening yourself up as well.
Sure. I'll take a survey then, instead of asking too many questions.
Yep, that makes sense to me. So I would say the position here is controlled. You don't stand to lose much by just looking at them. And your effect is going to be standard. This is just gauging body language. Go for it.
I'm rolling at 1d6 minus 1d6, so...
That's 2d6 and you take the lower, yeah.
Yep, it's rough. Oh, 1, bad.
6.
That's not good. 6, the duality of man.
The duality of hymns.
Yeah. Xainan, you are way too fucked up
to like really be able to tell what's going on. Like everything's starting to spin a little, right?
He's starting to like circle around in the same like 3 thoughts over and over and over.
Yeah, you just know that something's up. You're not sure what, right? And the blood is starting to get to you. Seir, you know that these 2 strangers who helped your party, they are surprised and they are upset that Lanius specifically is causing them specifically problems. That's what you get with a 6. Lanius pinged for them and there was a kind of like, that shouldn't be happening.
Seir, in a truly unprecedented course of action, steps off away from this Harlow, steps away from Harlow, like slightly glaring at them as he like moves towards the hunters. And they look at the both of them up and down and go, I think we may have similar concerns to speak on together.
The mortal hunter tears their slate gray eyes away from their wolf companion and gives you a once-over. Their face had like sealed back up into that inscrutable but ever-presently grim expression. And they say, I suspect so as well. We'll wrap up here, and then the rest of us can talk in private. Bo, you're making it sound so, like, intense. We'll have a nice friendly chat together. Is that better? Mav, that's even more intimidating coming from someone as huge as you. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean that in, like, an ominous way. I literally meant we'll have a nice friendly chat once we wrap things up with Harlow.
No, I took what you meant. Seir nods, and he still feels that instinctual draw to Mav. There's something about their aura and personage that's just so delectable.
Yeah, there's a moment where you hear her blood, her wolfish blood, thrumming underneath the surface of her skin, which moments before had been rippling with alpine fur. And then Mav is turning back toward Harlow and saying, all right, looks like that's all the truth we're going to get out of you. And we really don't need to know much more about your romantic escapades or lack thereof. I guess we can let you go. Just don't cause any more trouble, okay?
And if you want a shirt, you can. Oh.
Bo's eyes glance over at you, Xainan, before snapping back to Harlow. Whatever money you've got in your account, you're gonna have to pay Buddy us for the damages here. Especially that. And Bo points at the fucked up flower beds and, like, urban garden here, including the one missing planter that is currently on top of a car at the bottom of this building. What? All the damages? That's gonna be like thousands of yuan. I know. You probably should have thought about that before you started throwing shit around. Okay. You made your point, all right? I'll pay Buddy you. Just, we good here? Can I go?
You want a shirt?
Mav turns back to you.
You can't keep my jacket.
You can take my shirt, though. And Seir takes off the like. Oh, wait, no, he's not wearing anything right now.
But you're shirtless.
I'm shirtless. And Seir's just like, he doesn't want Xainan to have to give up his things. So Seir like just sighs and goes, "Wait here." And he's going to like step downstairs. And then
you're gonna run and get a shirt.
I'm gonna run and get my shirt. I don't want to use Xainan. I don't want Xainan to give his clothes, and I don't want this wolf to know where we live, specifically which room.
Okay, so. Yeah, you run, you grab a shirt, you come back, and I just need you to know that in maybe the 3 minutes that you're gone, it's the most awkward time up here on this roof. It is just so unbelievably awkward while you're gone, Seir. And then you come back and you hand Harlow a shirt. Okay, thanks. Here. And she shrugs off the leather jacket and hands it back to you, Xainan. Sorry if I got some sweat on it. Those are my fear sweats.
Xainan puts it over his shoulder, and the whole back is now just like, you can see there's a sheen of blood on it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yep. She takes Seir's shirt and kind of shrugs it on. Seir, you're a big muscular guy, and the shirt, like, fits her. It fits her quite well, actually. Ugh. Nice. Is this your cologne? Nice, man. All right. I'm gonna go. I will see you all. I will pay buddy you, kind hunter. It was nice to meet you all. I mean, maybe we can hang out at some point after all this is over.
I better not see you, Harlow.
Okay, yep, got it. Message received. And Harlow slowly gets up and kind of like backs away to like the edge of the roof, like waving at your group as she does. And then she like puts one leg over the edge and you hear like clanking down the fire escape.
Let's get cleaned up or something. My head hurts.
Hold on. You guys are in 3-8, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're neighbors! I knew there was someone there. See what I tell you, Bo? We definitely had neighbors. It's the four of you. Well, hi. I'm Maverick. This is Beauregard Thorne. And we're your hallmates. We're your neighbors. We're in 3-7. We live across the way from you.
Convenient.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know, right? You know, I actually tried to give you a welcome basket. I like knocked on the door and everything. It was just a couple months ago when you first moved in, but no one answered. I put everything that I used to love, but I can't eat anymore in the basket. Chocolates, raisins, macadamia nuts, avocados, onions, garlic. Oh, not garlic because you're vampires. Coffee, grapes. I think that's it. Would you like the welcome basket? It's still got a ribbon on it.
Sure.
Excellent.
Seir, who is like the most like well at the moment with the most energy out of all of Nova, is now once again being placed as the role of the face of this goddamn party, and he's just like, sure. Do you want to talk at ours then?
Oh my goodness, would we? Yes. You know, well, we're neighbors. We know where you live. Again, not in an ominous or threatening way. How about Bo and I will get cleaned up in our apartment, give you four like a chance to kind of, you know, lick your wounds.
Yeah.
And then we'll knock and we'll talk. We'll chat.
Yeah, sure.
Great.
Excellent. All right. See you soon. Strike Team Nova. We cut to the four of you back at apartment 3-8. Oh, Lumièra, you had a thought?
Uh-oh.
Tell me.
Right as everyone we turn to go back to our apartment, Lumièra will go back over to like the little sitting area that she was at and reach underneath the couch where her laptop was thrown in the midst of all of this for her paper and grab it.
Your laptop is like
open it up.
Shockingly well. It's okay. It's like shockingly
I think
well.
that's the first relieved sigh you've heard from her this entire night. Like the most audible you've heard her at this point. And she just closes it and clutches it to her chest and walks back to the apartment.
I love that. Yeah, and then we cut back to the four of you back in 3-8. By the time you get back into like the warm and welcoming and familiar environs of your loft, Lumièra, the pain is starting to subside. Basically, as soon as the fight had ended and the adrenaline stopped coursing through your body, like that tight pain around your chest like had dulled to just like a distant throb. So it's no longer like awe-consuming, though the memory of it, of course, continues to linger. And Xainan, similarly, like you're no longer hemorrhaging blood. Lumièra's kind of tourniquet had helped staunch it, but you're still, you know, the wound is still pretty bad, but you're no longer in critical condition.
I think I have maybe something for that. Hold on. And Lumièra will run back into her room for her regular first aid kit that she uses on missions sans a few things. She typically has her stabilizer on deck in the kit. The stabilizer is not there. So it literally just looks like a regular medic combat kit. And she just kind of walks over to Xainan, just healing.
Xainan stares at her, looks at this bag. Are you feeling alright?
Mm-hmm. And she's like digging through the bag, pulling out gauze and sutures, anesthesics, like completely one-track minded.
Why didn't you stop time? Instead of, I don't know, getting clobbered by a flower bed?
And Lumièra stops at that for a second and looks at you, and her eyes, for a brief moment, are wide and sad before they narrow and kind of take offense. She rears back. Why didn't I stop time?
Yeah. That's what
Why'd you
usually
miss?
Knock, 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 knock at the door. And Mav's voice goes, "Now a good time?"
Come in. Xainan looks at Lumièra.
I assume you all didn't lock the doors, right? So like they can come in behind you all. Okay, the door opens and Mav and Bo step in, and you see Mav is holding that welcome basket that she mentioned. The cellophane is still on it with all sorts of random stuff inside, chocolates and raisins, coffee and grapes. She sets it down on your living room table and looks around with a low whistle. Ho ho ho! You've got a nice place here, very homey.
Thanks.
Ooh, nice. I like your books and television. And your blackout curtains.
You wanna, yeah, that's so we don't die. You wanna have a seat?
Yeah, I will. And she sits down on the couch and it kind of groans under her huge muscular heft. The other person, this Beauregard Thorn, they take like a careful stance next to Mav and they don't sit. Like their body language is pretty closed off, but they are looking at each of you very carefully. And Mav with a big smile says, "So, as I mentioned, I'm Mav, this is Bo, and you all are Lumièra, Seir, and Xainan, right? Your names are on the mailboxes downstairs. I didn't see a fourth name though." And her eyes turn over to Yinghe. "Oh, I'm Yinghe. I don't live here, I think. I'm not supposed to, but I live here now. I moved in after, and they didn't put my name card up yet." Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I'll talk to the landlord about that. Make sure that you're also here as a full part of this apartment. But yeah, I'm Mav, EMT by day, werewolf by night. I'm also a private investigator. And this is Bo. They're a hunter by day and a hunter by night. We're partners in business. And in love. And at that, Bo lets out a Mav. Anyway, we thought that maybe our interests here are aligned.
Yeah, I think so too. Seir's held in this really weird position where, again, he's kind of like the one most active and the one who invited them here. And he goes over towards the kitchen counter and pours them water because they are mortals, and one is a werewolf, and like hands them both a glass. Here.
Bo eyes the glass suspiciously, as though you might have like put something in the water, even though you just poured it directly from the tap, but they take it. They don't sip at it. Mav goes, "Oh, thanks, bro," and takes the glass and chugs it. Fights always make me so thirsty. We gotta stay hydrated. Very important to stay hydrated. For vampires especially, with blood. Hydrated with blood. But anyway, Bo and I, while we were talking in our apartment, we thought that, we keep our ears to the ground, so we're pretty attuned to not just wolf business, but vamp business too, and are the four of you the people that did the spiders assaulted back in the bloodbath.
Yeah.
I see. Are you, like, friends with the spiders? Because that might make what we're about to share kind of awkward.
Acquaintances at best.
Acquaintances, I see. Well, I was gonna tell you this anyway, because you were caught up in the middle of all this shit. I mean, Harlow attacked you, so I think you all deserve to know what's going on. But,
Please, some clarity would be very nice right now. There's too many questions.
yeah, well, maybe what we're about to share will just breed more questions. Maybe we'll figure it out together as we talk through it. But as I mentioned, Bo and I were private investigators. We take on clients and cases as they come to us. I'm pretty good at finding things. And in this case, our most recent client is Lanius, a member of House Lanius. They asked us to investigate the death of one Ren Shimizu.
Oh.
I'm hoping this is not also a DT.
We're not at liberty to say which Lanius, client, investigator, confidentiality, and all that. But, safe to say, House Trakar is the primary suspect.
But you don't want to follow in Lanius's, let's call it disdain for us.
No! Look, I swear, Bo and I had no idea that House Lanius also hired someone to fuck with you guys. We didn't know.
No,
Harlow
I
was a
believe
separate
you.
contractor.
No, I believe you. So you wanted to investigate this Ren Shimizu. What did you find?
Well, all signs point toward, evidence being at the ICMA. That's where Ren died. And I don't think House Trakar is lying about where they died. I just think they're lying about how they died and why they died. The stuff about there being an artist and an artist dispute, I don't buy it. Ren Shimizu was never an official artist, especially not under House Trakar.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, it's kind of an open rumor, I guess, that Ren was an aspiring artist and had talked to Trakar a lot about, having some of their work being shown in one of their shows, but it never happened.
Wait. So being an artist is like an official position, not just a thing you do?
Oh, of course it's just a thing you do. I mean, Ren still has their, they posted all of their photographs on Tumblr and their paintings too. They did like mixed media stuff. But they always wanted recognition, official recognition, and they never got that. I mean, House Trakar controls the arts in Inferno. If you want to go official, you have to have the spider
That's the
spike.
house to do it through.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you're saying someone at the ICMA, not an artist, did this?
I mean, our contact seems to suspect that it was an inside job. Ren Shimizu was a part of House Trakar. She was a spider. Lanius suspects that another spider killed her. They just hired us to find hard evidence about it. And the evidence would be at the ICMA because that's where Ren died. I've been trying to, for the past 2 weeks, I've been trying to get into the ICMA. There's a gallery there. It's called the Recluse Gallery. It's their biggest, most important, most prestigious gallery, but it's been closed for renovations ever since Ren Shimizu's death. If there's going to be evidence, it's going to be there. I've been trying to get like a journalist pass to go in, all of that, but nothing's panned out. They're locked down pretty tight.
Something must have happened there. Why would you close your big building? And Seir kind of like tugs at the hairs on his chin and looks towards Lumièra and Xainan and Yinghe. Because we have a piece of information about Ren Shimizu and Lanius and their connection, which our investigators don't seem to have. So he eyes the two of them with a very, the three of them, including Yinghe, with the look of, I think I should tell him. And he's like about to like open his mouth. He's waiting for any like objections from the other three.
It's like looking in a mirror, and that thought is looking back at Seir from Xainan. So there's agreement.
Since we're all sharing, we know a little something about Ren Shimizu. I think this is part of the reason why Lanius sent Harlow after us. I attended their union meeting. They just kind of let me walk in, and it sounds like Ren Shimizu was in some sort of alliance with Lanius. I do not know if they were taken. I don't know the process of being taken into houses. I don't know if they were taken into houses or they were transitioning into those houses, but it seemed, or if they were just an informant. But
They were a mole. And this is Bo, a look of clarity coming across their slate gray eyes. If what Lanius suspects is true, no wonder House Trakar had them silenced.
Did they tell you that? About Ren Shimizu, I mean.
Not directly, but I suspected. I suspected too, but I wanted to give Ren the benefit of the doubt. That just makes the finger point at Trakar even harder. We were going to do my idea, my plan, since Mav's attempts to get in above board weren't going so well. We were going to break into the ICMA tonight. But dawn is approaching. Our window of opportunity is closing for getting in after hours. However, four of you, if you're interested and if you're handy and can stay quiet and silent, we might have need for you.
Seir looks to Nova. He seems really inclined to. And he kind of like leans in to like speak quietly towards Xainan, Lumièra, and Yinghe. We gotta know what's going on. We can't do what we're meant to do here if we don't know enough.
Whatever y'all do, I'll follow.
And Xainan thinks through the wording of the Mayday mission, thinks through all of the ways in which he has said, in agreement with Ro, helping Trakar is helping Ro. And it gets more and more complicated every time he thinks about that. Because also, wasn't Ren Trakar? Helping Ren is also helping Trakar, and he goes around and around and around in these complicated webs of the tapestry. And that frustration kind of peers out, and maybe it's pain or maybe it's irritation. Because this Mayday mission is not picking up and moving a box 3 feet and then going back to trans. It isn't even a nice time on the wild sea with, you know, the beautiful Verdancy and Abasi and Stormchaser. It is so complex. And Xainan is tired as he looks to Seir.
Seir matches it. There's a frustration, there's an exhaustion. There's definitely a look in Seir's eyes that all of you understand to mean, God, could someone just point someone that I can punch and call it a day? And the reason why he's pushing this man who would normally just want to follow the letter of fate's rule is there's too many questions. And he needs more right now. We need more. And he turns to the other two, the private investigators, Bo and Mav. Yeah, we can do that.
Good. There's another reason why we should go to the ICMA after hours, aside from the fact that there will be less foot traffic. I'm a spirit singer. It was what I was raised to do. It's my calling. And there has been a rumor of a ghost at the ICMA that's been haunting the Recluse Gallery. I think this ghost may be our only witness to what happened to Renshimizu. I can call it spirit, ask it questions. If it's open to being interrogated, I can even let it possess me, see through its eyes.
Huh.
Hearing
Is that safe?
Nothing is ever safe in Inferno.
hearing the term spirit singer, Xainan suddenly looks like he's startled and a little bit caught off guard. But then thinks about how helpful it would be to actually ask someone who isn't a vampire, because it's got to be someone who's dead in theory, maybe. And again, that complexity sort of kaleidoscopes out from that realization of ghosts and mortals existing in this world of undeaths. But then he thinks about how safe he feels with the ghosts, how not alone it makes him feel. I'd sure like those clear answers, if you don't mind.
Spirits rarely ever give clear answers, but there's a way to pull memory out of the past, out of time.
Lumièra's eyes, she's almost rears back at that, almost like she's been slapped.
Seir's looking at you the
Seir's.
whole time.
And she looks back at Nova out of her peripheral vision to see if they are looking at her like she feels their eyes on her.
Mm-hmm.
And she steels herself. Eyes focused directly back on the investigators in front of us, not making eye contact. Well, if you say you can do it. All right.
Beau's eyes had snapped to Xainan when he flinched at the mention of ghosts, and took that in. And then Beau's eyes had snapped to you, Lumièra, at the mention of time, and their brow furrowed briefly, before kind of bringing their focus back to your group as a whole. Yes. Spirit singing leaves me in a vulnerable position, so having more eyes to watch will be good. I have a quick question. If you can talk to ghosts, wouldn't it be best to just talk to Renshimizu's ghost? Presumably wherever she died? That's a common misconception about ghosts and spirits. Ghosts are the unlucky remains of those who aren't given a proper funeral, proper remembrance, people who are never mourned. Those are the people who turn into ghosts after they die. Renshimizu had a funeral. It was a big ceremony, a big ritual. Her spirit has been laid to rest. I see. Aw, look at us! Neighborly bonding. Listen, after all this, I've been trying to get a trivia night started up, so if all goes well, and all of us are still alive by the end of the night, I'd love for you all to, maybe we can start, hanging out.
We'll see. I'm in grad school. Homework. You understand.
Grad school. That sucks. Dang. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sure it's your life path and you're very happy, but that's a lot of work.
Lumièra looks puzzled. But okay.
Seir looked really excited at the idea of hanging out with Mav more, and then immediately becomes crestfallen and hearing Lumièra's response. Yeah, let's survive tonight. And he keeps like looking over at Mav, and he's hungry, so this doesn't help. So their presence is actively enticing. Before he clears his throat.
Yeah, Bo's eyes snap to you when you keep looking at Mav hungrily. So Bo's clocking whatever's happening with Xainan, Lumièra, and Seir. And they seem the most defensive of Mav when it comes to Seir. Like they're keeping tabs on you, Seir, but it's not anything aggressive yet. And Mav says, "Okay, great. So it's a double date, I guess. We'll meet you all maybe down at the parking lot tomorrow night. In that case, I've got a Homebrew Outback that can fit all of us in it."
All right.
Cool.
As long as we all
I'm just
fit.
gonna have to move some shit out the back. Yeah, we're all gonna fit. We're definitely gonna be breaking a few traffic rules to cram all of us in, but we'll fit. Okay, let me help you with this. And she gets up from the couch and goes over to your blackout curtains, where you can see through the windows, like the first fingers of dawn, rosy dawn, are peeking over the horizon. And she quickly the curtains, so the light doesn't penetrate into your apartment. Ugh, almost morning already. I guess I should go to sleep, get ready for the night shift, know what I mean? And Bo pushes off against the chair of the sofa and says, "Ugh, well, it's almost time anyway. Guess I'll just go to a meeting." Aw, 5 months sober, Bo! Proud of you! Mav goes over to Bo and gives a big kiss on top of Bo's head, and Bo just goes, "Oh, shut up." Kind of punches her in the arm, but affectionately. All right then, nice meeting you all. Thanks. We'll see you tonight. Rest up.
See you later.
All right, catch y'all later. Bye. And door closes.
As soon as the door closes, Lumièra immediately goes back to tending Xainan's arm. She does lean down into his shoulder and whispers into his ear, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean it." And will continue to dig around in her bag to help heal you. She is pulling out the sutures. You do need stitches.
And Xainan knows when he's hit a vulnerable spot, and he'll let her nurse that wound for now.
Lumièra, why don't you just I think you'll have to make a roll for me to patch up Xainan to see how many tiers of harm you can remove.
Okay.
So what action would you like to invoke?
I would say, hold on one second. Let me take a look at this really quick. Yeah, I'm gonna use study.
Study makes sense. Yep. Cool. So I'm going to say your position is controlled. I don't think that you as a very trained medic could make it worse. Your effect is going to be standard.
Okay.
Five, that's good. You can remove 1 tier of tier 2 harm or 2 tiers of tier 1 harm. I'll let Xainan decide what to take off.
We'll go after I've got a tier 2 wolf bite that I think is what needs the stitches. So
Yep,
I think that's the obvious place to start.
Great, so we can erase that tier off after Lumièra stitches up the wound. While there's this wound tending moment, Seir, how do you occupy your time?
I think Seir might have walked past and saw that Lumièra's patching up Xainan through the crack of the door. And he breathes a sigh of relief, and I think he walks to the living room. I don't think he's ready for bed yet. I think he just plumps into the couch and is just kind of resting and relaxing, and just and pinches the bridge of his nose, thinking about all of the moving parts of Inferno between what just happened, Ren Shimizu, how's Lanius, how's Strakar? And then he looks at the little red thread around his finger as he thinks about the impending danger headed in his direction. It wasn't the werewolf. It would have been easier if it were the werewolf. And now he has to think about what greater danger that was more frightening than what just came knocking on our door. How can he protect Nova? What does he need to do? Who does he need to punch?
Time passes both painstakingly slowly and as fast as a blink of the eye for you, Strike Team Nova, and exhaustion and fatigue starts to set in after the adrenaline dies down and the social event with Mab and Bo ends. Xainan, now we cut to your arm fully sutured up, dressed, and also bandaged as per Lumièra's instruction, and you're feeling the fatigue set deep into your bones. And at this point, Seir, you've run through the gamut of your thoughts, and Yinghe had kind of come up to you as dawn turned to morning and said, Seir, can I have a quick word with you in private?
Oh.
Just a quick talk.
Sorry, my dog just bonked the entire back of the back of my thing. Seir like blinks open his eyes like flutter open, hearing Yinghe's voice. And he like tilts his head over with a small, sweet smile towards Yinghe as he says, Nilavali, with me?
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. And he gets up to listen to what Yinghe has to say. In the room?
Oh, yeah. And Yinghe leads you into your own bedroom. And as soon as the door kind of clicks shut between the two of you, they turn to you and you see concern that they've been suppressing and repressing off of their face this entire time bubble up to the surface. And they go, You ran headfirst into Harlow. Right after we saw that vision. I just don't want you to get reckless again.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Instinct kind of just took over there. I saw Lumièra and I saw Xainan and I had to do something.
I know. I understand. And I know how much you need to protect people. But especially after everything Tingsing showed us, please can you just be a bit more careful? Because I want to protect you too.
I know, I'm sorry. I'll endeavor to be better.
No, it's not about being better.
I'm worried
it's
too.
About
Yinghe. Nila, if that wasn't the danger, then what is? If that wasn't it.
And Yinghe closes the gap between the two of you and places their hands on the sides of your elbows, looking up at you. You should tell them, Seir. You should let them in. You should tell Xainan and Lumièra about what you saw. That way all of us can help you prepare for it.
Seir does wave at before he says the next few words. He actually weighs Yinghe's words. He thinks about a scenario where he tells Xainan and Lumièra about everything that has transpired, about what he saw, about the incoming danger, and then he remembers Xaidan's exhausted look, even through being sutured up, how just battered he is. What's an additional concern thrown in his way? He also saw Xainan's face at Lumièra, another source of concern that he and Xainan both share. Lumièra's acting strangely. There's something up that he doesn't know the answer to either. There's all of these different things on our plate. And Seir kind of like sighs. I hear you. Let's give it a moment though, yeah? I think.
Yeah, of course.
I think there's just so much on everyone's plate right now, and I don't want to throw another wrench in, you know?
I understand. And you don't have to make your decision right this moment.
No, you're right. They should know. Maybe just not.
At hearing you say that, Yinghe's shoulders kind of like slump a little in relief.
Maybe
Okay.
just not right now.
I understand. We all need to get some rest. Speaking of which, I'm pretty exhausted. I think I'm gonna turn in.
I should sleep too. And Seir is red-faced before he says, I don't know what the sleeping arrangements are right now.
Well, first things first, Xainan should definitely have a bed.
Yes.
Given the wound and everything.
Yeah, and
I was thinking I had a lot of fun tonight, but I was thinking I might need rest.
yeah,
back
no, I
in my
agree.
bed.
And please do. And can you check on Lumièra?
Yeah, I'll wait for her to come back and I'll check in with her.
Please, you noticed that too, right?
Yeah, I've been noticing it. I don't think she's ready to talk about it. And I don't think she's okay. But with Lumièra, I don't know if prying and prodding and prying is the right thing to do.
We can only be there. I can only be there. I'll watch Xainan tonight. I'll make sure he's sleeping and he'll be okay.
Yeah.
Good night.
He looked much better already. Good night.
Yinghe opens up the door and closes it behind them. There's a beat, and then the door quickly opens. They come back in and they kiss you. They go, good night. And they go back out into the hallway.
There was definitely a moment where Seir was like a little sad that Yinghe like walked into the room without giving him a kiss, and then he got a kiss and he like smiles again, and he's just like, he loves me. Xainan.
As Yinghe returns to her and Lumièra's room, we push back out into the living room. This is while Yinghe and Seir were having this conversation and wrapping it up. Xainan, the last of the wraps, are attended to on your arm.
He's barely conscious at this point. The exhaustion has set in, and he is somewhere between extremely hungry and just tired. And while Xainan doesn't always guard himself heavily against, vulnerability with Lumièra, this is probably one of the most tired Xainan Esches she has ever seen, as he is barely conscious on the sofa, just a little bit enjoying being cared for, remembering all the times that she was there when we got back from the City of Heaven, remembering her using a particular word to refer to Xainan, his family, and he is at ease in her care.
Lumièra smiles. She knows you're tired, but there's a soft smile on her face. You can tell she's fighting back and forth between making sure you're good and you're not in too much pain, but also writing her paper at the same time. So when she's finished the suture, she just kind of pats your arm gently, rubs some salve over it to kind of help dull the pain around the sutures, but also to prevent scarring as well.
I want that.
Yeah. You have enough of those. And she kind of smiles a little bit before settling back. I don't know necessarily where you're sitting at, per se, in the living room.
He's reclined on the sofa at this point, I think. He's just kind of surrendered to being exhausted. And he has watched her move, not out of his usual hunterly watchfulness, but just keeping an eye. I think while you're there as well, you see that tangle of necklaces that he's been wearing here in Inferno. And there's a red-faced, looks like a stone almost, in a big, beautiful setting. But as he is laid back, you can see the ticking hands of a very small and delicate clock set in gold. The only large gold pendant there that faces you as you tend to the wound.
I like your necklace, old man.
Oh yeah, these all seem to show up when we got here. And he lifts up the cherry blossoms. And with it kind of wrapped around is a small black crescent tied to a piece of leather. Seems like fate brought me some of my dear tokens.
Even fate knows you get sentimental in your old age. And she smiles.
Yeah. You're working really hard. I know there's a lot going on.
Is all you get from her as she goes back to her paper.
And the hours pass. They tick by. Exhaustion comes in and drags Xainan Esch to sleep. Drags you right down to sleep like a heavy stone tied to your ankle. And Lumièra, you work on your paper. The only sound that can be heard in the entire apartment as the entire day passes is just the clacking of your nails against that keyboard and the words filling the page as you throw yourself into your work and you immerse yourself in what you have to do. Any other thoughts? They're not of concern to you right now. And it is in late afternoon outside that your door creaks open, Lumièra, and Yinghe comes out, literally silent as a shadow. And you hear their voice, small whispers so they don't rouse Xainan, kind of edging at the side of your chair. Lumièra?
Jeez,
Sorry.
and Lumièra jumps. So completely one-track mind focused in her paper that she literally jumps like 5 feet in the air, kind of like grabbing her laptop to keep it back on her. She's like, Fate!
I'm sorry.
You scared the crap out of me.
I tried to make as much noise as I could without waking Xainan. They were dead silent. They made no noise at all.
Lumièra looks at Yinghe like, you know the most sound you make is none, right?
Oh, right, Shadow Mage stuff. I just, you haven't come back to bed. It's been hours. You must be exhausted.
My body runs well on an hour or two of sleep. I'm used to it at this point.
Yinghe squints at you. They clearly don't believe you.
Lumièra doesn't care. Her eyes are focused back into her paper again as she's speaking to Yinghe. And it's silent for a moment before Lumièra clears her throat and goes, I think you and Seir should have the room.
What?
I'll sleep out here on the living room couch. I'm going to be up all night anyway.
Xainan's already in
papers to write. Xainan deserves his own
I
room.
want you to be my roomie, Lumièra.
And Lumièra kind of softens at that just a tad.
Well, I'll let you get back to it.
Yeah.
See you in a few.
Just do me a favor. If we are going to be roomies, like put a sock on the door or something.
What? Huh?
We'll discuss it in detail later. Don't worry about it for now. And Lumièra immediately goes right back into her paper, typing if not triple time as fast as she was previously. Like,
Yep.
God damn it. Stupid.
Yinko retreats. You don't hear them retreat, but you do sense their presence abate, and the only noise you hear is the sound of the door closing again as they go back to bed. And Lumièra, you stay up all day. You do not let exhaustion take you. You work on your essay all day until the sun sets again, and you start to hear some stirring from across the hall. And as you know you're supposed to wrap up your essay for the day, that's when you get a ding on your phone, followed very quickly by another ding. You're muted.
Jeez. Lumièra pulls herself from finishing the last paragraph of her paper, all 11 and a half pages, double spaced, 12.5 times New Roman font. Just, she's so proud of it. When she looks over, when she finishes it, she presses save. She saves it like she has been consistently doing throughout the night, and will just check her phone haphazardly as she's going through proofreading.
You check your phone casually, intent on going back to your process of proofreading, but the name catches your eye. It's that same unknown number. The first text reads, "Oh pity, oh sorrow." And the second text reads, "You will come undone." And we're gonna cut to break there. So we'll be back in 10 minutes. We love you all so much. I hope you enjoyed that and enjoyed the new art on the overlay too. Spisho, see you in 10. Howdy, Transplainers! You know what time it is. It's sponsor Connie time with a word from Hero Forge. Hero Forge has officially leveled up with kit bashing. When you become a pro member, you can place up to 20 more items anywhere on one of your blorbos with their own independent scaling, rotation, and movement. You can make your character look exactly as they should, even if the specific clothing or accessory option isn't available at the base level. You just have to get a little creative. And because I love you, Transplainers, here's a special sneak peek at a kit-bashed version of Oblivion. Just look at those wings and that base. This would not be possible without the power of kit bashing. The combinations are literally endless, and you can print your kit bashed blorbos as plastic minis, standees, digital STL files, or even Hero Forge's brand new color statuettes. Color statuettes are twice the size of a regular mini, and just look at this. I mean, look how massive this is, and especially in comparison to a regular mini, you can really get into all the nooks and crannies and details that wouldn't be as apparent on a regular sized mini. Just look at how Oblivion dwarfs Oka here. And also, if you're a GM, consider busting out one of these bad boys during a boss fight to really get your players shaking in their boots. Oblivion agrees. Unlock the true power of Hero Forge with a Hero Forge Pro subscription starting at $3.99 a month. Get in there and start creating at bit.ly/transforge. Now, let's get back to the show. Or more likely, just more of the waiting room. Trust in her will.